I installed a Ring doorbell 3 months ago. Just one of those things you do when you move into a new place, you know. The apartment was ground floor, decent neighborhood, but my mom kept texting me about safety. So I got the camera. Figured it'd give me peace of mind. I was wrong about the peace of mind part. The first week was normal. I'd get notifications when the mail came, when my neighbors had walked by, when delivery drivers dropped off packages. I barely checked the footage, unless I missed a delivery. It was just there, doing its job, recording a 3-foot radius of my front door in grainy night vision. Then I started noticing something in the recordings. Nothing dramatic at first, just someone walking by more often than seemed normal. Always the same person, a guy, maybe late 30s, white, with dark hair that fell across his forehead. He wore a gray hoodie most of the time, sometimes a navy jacket, average height, average build. The kind of person you'd pass on the street and forget immediately. Except I wasn't forgetting him, because he passed my door 17 times in 1 week. I counted. I went back through the footage on a Sunday afternoon, and I counted 17 times. Different hours. Morning, afternoon, late at night. He'd walk past my door, always from the same direction, heading toward the stairwell at the end of the hall. Then he'd come back, sometimes 2 minutes later, sometimes 20. At first, I told myself he lived in the building, that he was just going to his apartment, maybe on the 2nd floor, that he had weird hours or worked from home and went out for walks. I made excuses because the alternative felt paranoid, like I was one of those people who sees threats everywhere. But on the 8th day, he stopped in front of my door. It was 11:47 p.m. I was already in bed, scrolling through my phone, when the notification buzzed. Motion detected at your front door. I almost didn't check it, almost just swiped it away. But something made me tap it, some instinct I didn't know I had. The footage loaded. There he was, standing directly in front of my door, facing the camera. His face was slightly downturned, so the motion sensor light created shadows under his eyes. He wasn't moving, just standing there, staring at the camera dot at me. I held my breath watching it. 5 seconds, 10, 15. He didn't knock, didn't touch the door, just stood there, perfectly still, like he was waiting for something. Then he turned and walked away, calmly, like nothing had happened. I locked my phone and stared at my ceiling for an hour before I fell asleep. The next morning, I checked the footage again. Part of me hoped I'd imagine how creepy it was. But no, in the daylight, on my laptop screen, it was worse. I could see more detail. The way his hands were shoved deep in his hoodie pockets. The way he tilted his head slightly, like he was listening. The way his lips were pressed together in this flat, emotionless line. I screenshotted his face and sent it to my neighbor, Rachel. She lived doors down. A black woman in her 50s with short natural hair and the kind of no-nonsense energy. That made me feel safer, just knowing she was nearby. She wore bright-colored cardigans and always smelled like lavender. "Do you know this guy?" I texted her with a screenshot. She replied 20 minutes later, "Never seen him." Why I didn't want to sound paranoid. "He's been walking past my door a lot. Just wondering if he lives here. I'll keep an eye out." She wrote back, "Then, you okay?" "Yeah, just checking." But I wasn't okay. Because that night, at 11:51 p.m., almost the exact same time, he did it again. Stood in front of my door, stared at the camera, 15 seconds this time, then walked away. I didn't sleep well. The third night, I turned off all my lights early and sat on my couch in the dark, watching my phone, waiting for the notification. It came at 11:49 p.m. I watched the live feed this time, watched him approach in real time, watched him stop, stare. I could hear my own breathing. My hand was shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I wanted to call someone. The police. Rachel. My mom. But what would I even say? A man stands outside my door for 15 seconds every night. They tell me to file a report if he tried to break in. They'd tell me he wasn't technically doing anything wrong. And maybe he wasn't. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe he was just some weirdo who didn't realize how creepy he looked. Maybe he knocked. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I froze. The sound echoed in my silent apartment, impossibly loud. My heart slammed against my ribs. I stared at my phone screen. He was still standing there, waiting. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't make a sound. After 30 seconds, he walked away. I sat in the dark until sunrise. I called the building manager the next morning. Her name was Patricia, a white woman in her 60s with reading glasses that hung on a chain around her neck. She always wore beige blazers and had this perpetually tired expression, like she'd heard every complaint twice. "There's a man who keeps standing outside my apartment," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Late at night, I have footage from my doorbell camera." She sighed. "Is he bothering you? Harassing you?" "He knocked on my door at midnight." "Did you open it?" "No." "Did he say anything threatening?" "No." "But look, honey," she interrupted. "If he's not threatening you or damaging property, there's not much I can do. Could be a guest visiting someone, could be a resident. If it continues, file a police report. I have footage. Do you want to see it? Email it to me. I'll take a look." She didn't take a look. I know because I emailed her that afternoon and never heard back. That night, I moved my couch against the door. It wouldn't stop anyone determined, but it made me feel like I had some control. I kept my phone on my chest, volume up, waiting for the notification. It came at 11:53 p.m. I watched him approach. Same hoodie, same expressionless face. He stopped in front of the door, stared at the camera. Then he did something new. He smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a warm smile, a small, knowing smile. Like we were sharing a secret, like he knew I was watching, like that was the whole point. Then he raised his hand and waved slowly, deliberately, 5 fingers spreading and closing. A hello meant just for me. I reported it to the police the next morning. The officer who took my statement was a Hispanic man in his 40s, graying at the temples, with the kind of face that had seen too much to be surprised by anything. He listened, took notes, watched the footage on my phone. "Has he tried to enter your apartment?" he asked. "No." "Has he made any verbal threats?" "No." "Do you know his name?" "No." He handed my phone back. "I'll file this report. If he tries to enter your apartment or makes any direct threats, call 911 immediately. In the meantime, consider getting a restraining order if you can identify him." "How am I supposed to identify him?" "He's just there." The officer gave me a sympathetic look. "Keep recording everything. Build your case." That's what my safety had become. A case to build. I started changing my routine. I stopped coming home at the same time every day. I started parking in different spots. I asked Rachel to walk me to my door a few times, which she did without question, her presence solid and reassuring. But I couldn't ask her every night, and I couldn't live like this forever. The man didn't come back for 3 days. I started to hope he'd moved on. That maybe the police report had scared him, even though I knew that made no sense. He had no way of knowing I filed one. But on the 4th night, he came back, 11:46 p.m. Earlier than usual. I watched the notification pop up and felt my stomach drop. I opened the live feed. He was standing there, but this time, he was holding something. I squinted at my phone screen, trying to make out what it was. A piece of paper. He held it up to the camera. Block letters written in black marker. "I know you're watching." My blood went cold. I couldn't move, couldn't think. The paper stayed up for 10 seconds. Then he lowered it, folded it carefully, put it in his pocket, and walked away. I grabbed my keys and went to Rachel's apartment. Knocked until she answered, her hair wrapped in a silk scarf. Her face creased with sleep and concern. "He's escalating," I said, my voice shaking. I showed her the footage. Her expression hardened. "We're calling the police. Right now." They came within 30 minutes. 2 officers this time. One of them was the same man from before. They watched the footage, took more notes, walked the hallway, found nothing. "We'll increase patrols in the area," the first officer said, "but legally. Until he makes a direct threat or attempts to break in, Our hands are tied. He's terrorizing her." Rachel said, her voice sharp. "That's not enough. We understand your frustration." "Ma'am, we really do." They left. Rachel stayed with me that night, sleeping on my couch. I was grateful, but I also knew she couldn't stay forever. The next morning, I found something taped to my door. Another piece of paper. Same handwriting. "You look tired." He'd been there while we were inside, while Rachel was sleeping on my couch, while I was 10 feet away from my front door. He'd been that close. I stopped sleeping. Not intentionally. My body just refused. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him standing there. That small smile. That slow wave. Those words in block letters. I installed a second camera inside my apartment, facing the door. I bought a baseball bat and kept it next to my bed. I downloaded one of those safety apps that alerts your emergency contacts if you don't check in. I did everything I was supposed to do, but none of it made me feel safe. Rachel convinced me to stay with her for a few days. "Just until this blows over," she said. I wanted to believe it would blow over, that he'd get bored, that he'd find someone else to terrorize. I packed a bag and went to her place. Her apartment smelled like lavender and vanilla candles. She made me tea and set up the guest bedroom and told me everything would be okay. I wanted to believe her. For 2 nights, nothing happened. No notifications from my doorbell camera. No notes. No visits. I started to relax. Started to think maybe it was over. Then Rachel got a notification on her doorbell camera. It was 11:58 p.m. We were watching a movie in her living room. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up, frowned, and tapped the screen. Her face went pale. "What?" I asked. She turned the phone toward me. He was standing outside her door. Same hoodie, same expressionless face, holding another piece of paper. Wrong door. My throat closed. I couldn't breathe. He knew where I was. He'd followed me, or watched me. Or how? Rachel whispered. "How does he know you're here?" I didn't have an answer. I felt like the walls were closing in, like there was nowhere safe, nowhere he couldn't find me. Rachel called the police again. They came again, watched the footage again, said the same things again. Patrols, reports, direct threats, legal limitations. I felt like I was drowning. "I think he's tracking me somehow," I said to the officers. "My phone died in my car. I don't know, but he knows where I am." They exchanged glances. "Have you noticed anything unusual with your devices? Strange apps? Unknown connections?" "No. I don't know. I don't know what to look for." They recommended I take my phone to a specialist, check my car for GPS trackers, change all my passwords. I did all of it. Found nothing, but he still knew. I moved out of my apartment 2 weeks later. Broke my lease. Lost my deposit. Didn't care. I stayed with my mom for a month, 2 hours away, until I found a new place. A 3rd-floor apartment with a secured entrance and cameras everywhere. I didn't install a personal doorbell camera. I couldn't. The thought of it made me sick. For a while, I thought I'd escaped. No more visits. No more notes. No more notifications in the middle of the night. I started sleeping again. Started feeling like a person again. Then I got a message on Instagram from an account with no profile picture. No posts. No followers. The username was just a string of random numbers. The message was a video. I almost didn't open it. Almost blocked the account immediately. But something made me click it. That same instinct that made me check my doorbell camera the first night. The video was footage from my old doorbell camera. But it wasn't from my perspective. It was from his phone. He recorded the footage off his own device. Recorded himself watching me watch him. And in the video, you could hear him breathing slow, steady, excited. I reported the account. It was gone within an hour. But the video stayed in my mind. The sound of his breathing. The proof that he'd been watching me watch him this entire time. I changed my Instagram to private. Deleted Facebook. Locked down every social media account. Because 2 days later, I got an email. No subject line. Just a link. I didn't want to click it, but I had to know. It was a Google Photos album, shared with me, full of pictures of my old apartment. Me walking to my car. Me getting my mail. Me standing in my kitchen, visible through my window. Hundreds of photos. Weeks of surveillance. Maybe months. All time-stamped. I couldn't stop shaking. Watched. They took it seriously this time. Opened an investigation. Tried to trace the account, but it was created with a burner email. Untraceable. We're doing everything we can. The detective said. A white woman in her 30s with sharp eyes and a kind voice, but without a name or a physical address. It's difficult. He knows where I live. I said, he's been following me for months. We'll increase patrols. We'll monitor your accounts. If he contacts you again, we'll be ready. But I didn't feel ready. I felt haunted. I stopped going out alone. My mom drove me to work. My coworker walked me to my car. I became a ghost in my own life, terrified of being seen. For 3 weeks, nothing happened. No messages, no emails, no photos. I started to think maybe the police presence had scared him off. Maybe he'd finally moved on. Then my mom got a letter in the mail, addressed to her, no return address. Inside was a single photograph of me leaving her house, taken the day before. He knew where my mom lived. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I brought this to her doorstep, put her in danger. We're going to the police, she said, her voice shaking. She was a strong woman, my mom, Filipino. Early 60s, with graying hair she kept in a neat bun. She'd raised me alone, worked 2 jobs, never complained. But I could see the fear in her eyes, fear I'd caused. We filed another report. The detective came to the house, took the letter, dusted for prints, found nothing. Of course, I think you should consider relocating again, she said. Both of you, just until we can identify this individual. I can't keep running, I said. He'll just follow me again. Then we need to draw him out. Set a trap. I didn't like the sound of that. Didn't like the idea of being bait, but I was out of options. The detective explained the plan. I'd post on social media that I was moving back to my old apartment. Make it public, predictable. They'd have plainclothes officers nearby, cameras everywhere. The moment he showed up, they'd grab him. It sounded good in theory. In practice, it meant putting myself in his path again, letting him think he won. I agreed, because what else could I do? I made the post 3 days later, finally moving back home. Missed my old place, tagged the general area, made it easy to find me. Then I waited. It took for days of sleepless nights and constant anxiety, for days of jumping at every notification, every sound, every shadow. Then the detective called. We've got him. His name was Nathan Proctor, 37 years old, white, dark hair, gray hoodie. Exactly as I described. He didn't live in my old building. He lived 3 blocks away. He was unemployed, lived alone, no criminal record. They arrested him outside my old apartment. He'd been watching from across the street, waiting for me to arrive. The plainclothes officers grabbed him before he could approach, found a camera in his bag, a notebook full of my schedule, screenshots of my social media, printouts of the photos he'd sent me. The detective showed me everything. You've got enough to charge him with stalking, harassment, invasion of privacy. He's not getting out anytime soon. I should have felt relief, should have felt safe, but all I felt was numb. Why me? I asked. Did he say why? She hesitated. He said you seemed lonely, that you needed someone to watch over you. I wanted to scream, to cry, to break something, but I just sat there, staring at the photos spread across the table. My life. Documented stolen. There's something else, the detective said. We found recordings, audio recordings, from inside your apartment. My blood went cold. How? We're still investigating, but we think he installed a listening device at some point. Maybe when you weren't home. Maybe when he pretended to be a delivery driver. We're not sure yet. He'd heard everything. Every phone call, every conversation, every moment I thought I was alone. I felt violated in a way I couldn't put into words. Nathan Proctor was charged, held without bail. I testified at his hearing, my voice shaking, my hands clenched. He stared at me the entire time. That same flat expression, that same small smile. The judge granted a restraining order, a protection order. He'd go to trial in 6 months. But even with him in jail, I didn't feel safe because he'd been inside my life, inside my head, and I didn't know if I'd ever get him out. The trial was brutal. His defense attorney tried to paint me as paranoid, as overreacting, as someone who misinterpreted harmless behavior. They showed the footage of him standing outside my door and called it public space. They dismissed the photos as coincidental. They claimed the listening device was planted by someone else. But the prosecution had the notebook, the recordings, the messages, the testimony of the detective, Rachel, my mom. The pattern of behavior that couldn't be explained away. The jury took 3 hours to find him guilty on all counts: stalking, harassment, invasion of privacy, illegal surveillance. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. The judge called his behavior obsessive and predatory, called me brave. I didn't feel brave. I felt exhausted. After the sentencing, I stood outside the courthouse with my mom and Rachel. The sun was too bright. The air was too cold. Everything felt surreal. "It's over," my mom said, squeezing my hand. But it wasn't over. Not really. Because even though Nathan Proctor was behind bars, I still checked my locks 3 times before bed. Still jumped at unexpected notifications. Still felt eyes on me when I walked alone. Therapy help. My therapist, a South Asian woman in her 40s with warm eyes and a calming voice, taught me grounding techniques, helped me process the trauma, reminded me that healing isn't linear. I moved to a new city 6 months later, started over again, got a job I liked, made new friends, started sleeping through the night. But I never installed another doorbell camera. I couldn't. The thought of watching myself on a screen, of knowing someone else might be watching too, made my skin crawl. I still think about him sometimes. Wonder if he thinks about me. Wonder what he's doing in prison. If he's learned anything. If he's sorry. I doubt it. Nathan Proctor was released after serving 3 years. Good behavior. Reduced sentence. I got the notification from the Victim Services Department on a Tuesday afternoon. My hand shook as I read the email. He was out, back in the world, somewhere. The restraining order was still in effect. He wasn't allowed to contact me, wasn't allowed within 500 feet of me. But enforcement was difficult, and he'd already proven how good he was at watching without being seen. I increased my security, changed my routines again, told my friends to be careful what they posted online. I became HYP or VIGILANT again. For weeks, I waited for something to happen. A message, a photo, a notification. But nothing came. Maybe he'd moved on. Maybe he'd learned his lesson. Maybe I was finally free. Then, 3 months after his release, I got a package. No return address, just my name and current address on the label. My stomach dropped when I saw it. I called the police before opening it. They came, photographed it, opened it carefully. Inside was a doorbell camera, brand new, still in the box, and a note, handwritten, so you always know who's watching. The police tried to trace it. .could in single quotes T. No fingerprints, no DNA. Purchased with cash at a hardware store 3 states away. He was taunting me, proving he could still reach me, that the restraining order meant nothing, that he'd always be there, in the periphery, watching. I moved again. Didn't tell anyone where, not even my mom. Just disappeared, changed my name legally, started a new life, again. It's been 2 years now. I haven't heard from him, haven't seen him, haven't received any packages or messages. But I still feel him sometimes. That sensation of being watched, that prickle on the back of my neck when I'm alone. I don't know if he's still out there. Don't know if he's watching. Don't know if I'll ever truly be free, but I do know this. I'll never feel safe behind a doorbell camera again, because now I know what it's like to be on the other side, to be the one watched, the one studied, the one hunted. And I know that somewhere, on someone's phone, there's footage of me living my life, unaware, vulnerable, and I can't stop wondering, who else is watching?